The London attack has prompted President Trump to renew his push for a travel ban. This morning he tweeted, quote, "People, the lawyers, and the courts can call it whatever they want, but I'm calling it what we need and what it is, a travel ban." So will a travel ban work? Let me bring in former UN ambassador and Fox News contributor John Bolton. Welcome back, Ambassador.
Glad to be back.
So the travel ban, the renewed push for it, but we're seeing a lot of these terrorists either born or raised in some of our allied nations. So do we stop travel from places like the UK?
Well, whatever you want to call it, it's still temporary, and it's designed to give time to fix the visa granting process. I actually think you need a lot more work. I think the entire system needs to be revised. And certainly it's only one aspect of a bigger picture, because the threat of homegrown terrorism, I think, is real.
And I think they're here. I think they're here in this country, and I think they already live, work, and breathe in places like France, Belgium, and the UK. So while it might make us feel better, and it might weed out some of the people who are either radicalized or who come here and wish to do us harm, what do we do about the people who are already here?
Well, I want to come back to that point, because I think you do need a global strategy. I think instead of saying, well, let's deal with ISIS over here, and let's deal with travel over here, and let's deal with homegrown terrorists here. This is all
not enough integration?
Yeah, it is all part of an ideology. That's the problem we're facing. And I think here really the issue is law enforcement and intelligence being unwilling to do what I think they already have the power to do, which is carry out investigations. This is not infringing anybody's religious freedom. It's not protected by the First Amendment to conspire to kill people.
No, it's not. And to take away their freedom. And that's what makes this different. But, you know, I guess my problem, and this is where we differ, is I don't like targeting everybody. I don't think it makes us safer. I think it makes us less safe. And I think, you know, we see that in these attacks abroad and some of the ones here.
Well,
and
I have to say, I'm not sure it's a question of over-targeting and therefore being overwhelmed by information or insufficiently targeting. Look, in the London case, of the 3 that the police killed, 1 was on their radar screen, but 2 were not. So obviously everybody's in favor of correctly targeting. The fact is, I don't think law enforcement is using a lot of the tools they have. I don't think we've caught up with ISIS in social media and the internet. I think there remain a lot of problems that people are inhibited from doing because you're criticized as Islamophobic when I think that's really
absolutely right. But you know, when you have you know, music stars like Morrissey in the UK coming out saying, let's stop being politically correct. You know, obviously we have an established pattern here. We know what that is, but we're not using our resources appropriately enough because we're still talking about this. One thing that you and I agreed about today on the Outnumbered Couch on Fox News is our dismay at Theresa May saying that we need to regulate and perhaps shut down the internet, because I don't think that does the appropriate job.
No, I don't think it's a question of regulating the internet. I think it's a question of using the internet to block the terrorists as they're really succeeding in increasing their recruitment and training and deployment of terrorists. That's the ultimate objective here, is to stop the terrorists before they strike, and we're obviously failing at that.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk to the judge a little bit about that later on. You know, it's also interesting because we see these terrorist attacks in places like Kabul, which take, you know, dozens of lives, 50 people killed, and we don't pay as much attention there.
Well, I think some people watch this around the world, which is why King Abdullah of Jordan, for example, has described this threat of radical Islamic terrorism as a civil war within the religion.
Yeah,
more Muslims have been killed and harmed by these terrorists than Westerners, although we focus the attention here. That's also why you need a global strategy, because there are allies in the Muslim world who understand the threat this poses to orderly society and in their part of the world as well.
Yeah, and there are training facilities in Jordan where our troops go over there and try and train moderate soldiers to, I don't know, do the right thing and not take our arms and ultimately use them against us, one would hope.
But let's be clear, I think at the moment things are still going downhill. I mean, it's been interesting. The most recent development is the Saudis and 4 other Arab countries cutting off Qatar, ending their diplomatic relations, suspending air travel
If only
to
Hillary
them
and
today.
Bill Clinton could have done that with their foundation.
Because of, well, that's the Qataris have played both sides of the street for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And let's be real. The real source of financial wherewithal for terrorists around the world is Iran.
Yeah.
And we are getting ready, once ISIS is defeated, we are getting ready for the next big conflict in the Middle East, which won't involve Israel necessarily on day one, but could involve Iran.
Yeah, it could. And Israel and Saudi Arabia, you know, that is the one uniting factor between them, is the fact that they completely distrust Iran. They know that Iran is funding terrorism. And, you know, I agree with you that the Iran deal was a horrible deal. But, you know, as you say, we have to rethink the entire vetting process and rework the whole thing. I think we also have to do the same thing with some of our perceptions and relationships in the Middle East. Last word.
Well, I think actually Donald Trump has changed the dynamic in terms of relationships in the Middle East, and if there could be a strategic partnership, even unstated, between the Israelis and the Saudis, maybe we could see effective action against Iran's nuclear weapons program.
It's just crazy enough to work. All right, I want us to live in a safe and prosperous world. Hopefully that will happen in our lifetime.
We're working on it.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.